Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. Today's show is Pharmaceutical Safety and You. Hurry back and join us. Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence with Just Ask. Today's show is Pharmaceutical Safety and You. And we have with us in our audience, or studio, I should say, today, ladies and gentlemen, Ike Engelbaum and Ed Ratzenberger. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to see you.
Yeah, same here. Thanks for having us.
Good. Now, I didn't give you guys titles because you both work in two different capacities, so I wanted you to fill me in. So, Ike Engelbaum, tell us about yourself and what do you do?
Sure. As you mentioned, my name is Ike Engelbaum, and I bill myself as a pharmacist who specializes in helping seniors and physically challenged people in taking medication the proper way. I've had special training in terms of dealing with seniors, and I publish the American Senior Gazette newspaper and also give talks to different community groups on the wise use of medicine. And I'm also very active in a national society titled American Society of Consultant Pharmacists, whose mission is to help seniors maintain a proper medication regimen. In fact, I just developed this acronym within the last month called MOMS, M-O-M-S, which stands for Medication Organizer and Management Systems, because I think there's a need for a lot of seniors and physically challenged people, or even that are not challenged, to know the importance of the medications they take. And one of the biggest dilemmas that we face in the healthcare field today, believe it or not, it's been estimated that as many as 70% of patients in hospitals right now are only there because they didn't take their medications in the appropriate dosage, assuming, of course, it was diagnosed properly.
Okay. Now, see, I asked you to introduce yourself, and you gave us a wealth of information just that quick, because in actuality, it was good. Okay, when I say it was good, it was like somebody sitting here listening to us right now and saying, yep, I'm one of those people. I can't take my medicine on time. I don't remember how to take my medicine. So we're going to piggyback on some more of that good information, but we're going to go to Ed Ratzenberg. So, Ed, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I'm a certified safety professional, and first got into safety as I was an industrial relations manager back in 1962. Worked at that for a while, and then I joined Stroh Brewery Company as a safety and security director until they went out of business, and then I became the executive director of the Safety Council for Southeast Michigan, which is a chapter of the National Safety Council.
Okay.
And in that capacity, we got the chance to provide safety information and reduce injuries and illnesses in the car for driving and at work and at home. And since I retired from there a few years ago, I formed my own company called Safe Life, and which we're directing our efforts towards helping senior citizens have a safe life at work or in the mall or at home or wherever.
All right. Now, see, both of you gentlemen have come to see us today with a wealth of information about taking their medicine properly and being safe, whether it's in the workforce or if it's being at home. And a lot of people, because of certain weather conditions and stuff, need to know what to do if it's raining, if it's snowing, if they need to be aware of burglaries, or, yearly around a certain time of the year, there's always a rash of professional con men and women who do things, and seniors are so vulnerable that if you guys be more than welcome to fill us in on some of those things today, we appreciate it. So what I want to do is start off with you, Ike, and tell us what's one of the biggest mistakes people make when they are choosing a pharmacist?
Is that a lot of them are now sucked into the internet world, and they assume if whatever they can get on the internet is the cheapest medication, doesn't matter as to what goes on. The wonderful thing that we still have going, and hopefully for the foreseeable future, no matter what insurance program you get involved with, you have free choice in choosing a pharmacy that's near you, and you should feel comfortable in speaking to the pharmacist directly versus a pharmacy clerk. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they don't know who the pharmacist is. So when they run into a question, they call, they don't know who to ask for, and with all the fancy-dancy voicemail system, press 3, and you get some voice answering that you don't know who it is, and you're asking something that is really important to you. You're not sure who's at the other end of the line.
So you really should ask for the pharmacist instead of speaking
Sure,
to the clerk. But the clerk is there to pretty much expedite the information to the pharmacist. So do you think a person should bypass the clerk or ask the clerk, may I speak to the pharmacist, and I have a question that I think that the pharmacist is the only one can ask?
Right. Well, you know, I would go even one step further. That you wouldn't go into a doctor's office without knowing which doctor, assuming it's a group practice, which doctor that you indeed want to see. Very few people think of the fact that, hey, those little shingles that you see or the pictures of the pharmacist sitting there on the prescription counter, those are human beings, and some of those pictures and names are pharmacists that are what's called relief pharmacists, especially with the drug chains. It's a very common practice to have one pharmacist go from store to store pending where there's a shortage. But every chain drugstore does have a pharmacist in charge of that particular store. Find out who that pharmacist is and introduce yourself.
So, okay, if I'm trying to pick up some medication for my mom, now in some of our local chains that we have now actually give you a printout of what this medicine does. Are you saying that a person can bypass reading that printout and just ask the pharmacist themselves about the medication instead of just read? Because everybody may not be able to read that literature, so should they be able to have options to talk to the pharmacist even though it is on the printout?
Oh, there's no doubt. What I would recommend from a practical standpoint, because these pharmacists today are really busy. I mean, it's like a production line back there. You sign out for the prescriptions, you take them home with you, read as much of the information that you feel comfortable in reading, underline what is confusing to you, then you call back the pharmacy, and you can actually ask for a private consultation, which, by the way, by law, pharmacists are supposed to provide you at no charge. When people sign out at a prescription counter, they assume it's like a home delivery from UPS or something. What that document, when they sign for their prescription, says, I have asked all the questions and I know everything I want to know about their medicine. That's what that document says.
So when a person is signing for their, when the clerk says, sign right here,
right,
and you're signing off, you put your name down there,
right,
you're actually signing away your rights to further ask
for that
questions.
day. That doesn't mean this is still America.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that forever and ever are you not allowed.
But I'm not asking any questions of the pharmacist.
Not at that
So
time.
we're under the assumption is if we're signing this piece of paper that we're signing that we picked up our medicine.
Yes.
But it's not that. It's actually saying that you didn't have any questions.
It's both. On a practical standpoint, for the pharmacy to be paid by the insurance company, they have to prove that indeed somebody picked it up.
Okay.
That's what that document states. Okay. But the most important part of the document is the fact that, and very few people seem to know that. Okay. The important document is me. It's about me.
Look, today we know about it. Okay. Okay. Well, let me ask you this: what's one of the safety? Where's a safe place to store medicine in the home?
Well, would you believe for $1 million that I would venture 98% of the people watching this program are not aware that the drawer in your dressing room or a bedroom is the safest place to keep your medicine.
The drawer in your bedroom. You know, I thought you were going to say refrigerator. For some reason,
No.
I thought you had to keep it in a cool place or something like that, away from the light.
It has to be in a dark place. Obviously, that's not a practical type approach. But here's something that's a very dirty secret. Most medicine, if you do indeed store in the refrigerator, actually dilutes the effectiveness of the medicine. You're doing more harm because, think about it, there's moisture in the refrigerator. You're suddenly introducing moisture into those tablets and capsules, which they were not intended to be. It's important to keep it in a dark, cool place. It doesn't
So not even on your nightstand where the lamp is at.
Oh, the lampstand, that's all right. That's not a bad
thing. You know how
thing.
people have their light on and the bottle so sitting right there?
Yeah,
so.
right. You're right. So for the convenience.
Right.
That's not bad.
That's
I
not
mean,
bad.
that's not bad.
What about those compartments where it tells you daily, Monday through Saturday?
Oh, yeah. Well, we have a full line, in fact, in the American Senior Gazette.
I'm saying, well, the pills, is that a problem to leave the pills in there, or is they safe there?
They're safe, because don't forget, those dispensers usually only hold a 7-day supply.
Right.
And there are certain medicines you should never put into those dispensers, like what's called, like of course, nitroglycerin is one of the most important items. And in fact,
that's a heart pill.
It's a heart medication. And they purposely come with a screw cap so that you can tighten it up, and it's in a dark bottle. And if anyone does...
I have a thing about that. I didn't mean to cut you up, but I have a thing about that. Here it is, you take a nitroglycerin, and something happens to a person, and the cap is on there, and you really can't get the cap off, and you're like, this is a matter of split seconds that you have to take this pill. Are you saying that pill should not go into your 7-day dispenser?
Oh, yeah, no.
But what about the cap? Shouldn't the cap be made different?
Well, the cap is, quite frankly, those are not, if you'll notice, they are not child resistant. Those are very easy unscrewed tabs. But you also must remember that nitroglycerin is what's called hygroscopic, which means it absorbs liquids very easily. So if you put it even in a plastic vial, water, or at least moisture, gets into the tablets and weakens the strength of the medication. That's why, unfortunately, in that case, it has to be in a dark bottle with a cap that's screwed on, so you can keep that air in there as tight as is possible.
Okay. I tell you what, gentlemen, we're going to go to a break. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what? You need to write some of this stuff down so you'll know what I know. Okay, we'll be right back.
Do you know that stroke targets by color? If you're African American, you're twice as likely to suffer a stroke as white Americans. Join the power to end stroke at strokeassociation.org.
If a natural disaster happened, we'd probably all meet around the grocery store.
We would all meet at a bus stop.
Oh, we'd probably meet at our neighbor's house.
And welcome back to the second half of the show. For those of you who are just not joining us, we're talking about pharmaceutical safety and you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know a lot of times you have questions, and if you can, you feel free to give us a call at 248-988-0250. And any of our guests, if you've seen, we'll be more than happy to get your questions over to them so they can answer it. So give us a call at 248-988-0250 or drop us a line at justastalkshow.org. Now, we have Ike Engelbaum, who is a pharmacist, certified pharmacist, and been one for years. You got questions for Ike, I know you do. So you want to know something in particular about medication, then you may contact us to ask us to get in touch with Ike to ask him a question that maybe your pharmacist hasn't answered for you, or maybe you haven't asked. So if you have questions, give us a call. And then we're going to channel into Ed Ratzenberger and find out what's going on in the line of safety, especially when it comes to your home or in your travels. So I'm going to go back to Ike for now. So Ike had this question. Normally when you have a medicine, you get your prescription, it says take before meals. Some of it says take after meals. Some says take during meals. Why is that?
Well, let's start the before meals. A lot of medications are actually most active on an empty type stomach. So they purposely want you to get the maximum benefit of the medicine, so if it's not mixed in with the food. Okay. Then you get to level number 2, where certain medications are really quite strong, and sometimes, if without food, can actually be actually detrimental to the inside lining, because it's got more acidic properties. So with food, it takes away from the activity of the negative part of the medication. After meals, a lot of medications are potent to the point of where they need to be sort of in a way cushioned. So your food is a cushion.
Okay.
Inside, an inside cushion. So that's why you take it after meals. That way the medicine is not harmful to your system, and at the same time you get the maximum benefit.
Because some medicine does make you a little nausea. So at one point, if a person taking medicine say, oh, it's making me nausea, is it because they didn't take it in the proper order, if it said take with meals? Or
that could be part of it, pending, of course, on the medication.
I mean, I've had some medicine like that, and I practically thought I was dying, okay? So,
well, obviously, stop taking the medicine.
Right, I did. I'm looking at it like, you're supposed to be making me well, but why do I feel so sick?
Yeah, well, that's the sad part. My wife is very sensitive to medicine. And many times, just after the first tablet, within hours, she suddenly feels so weird that she refuses to take any more medicine. Well, in a case like her, unfortunately, it's really a terrible thing to have to deal with, because you're being, put in a situation where medication that can't help you, you cannot take.
Right, you have to learn
so
to take it.
The fancy-dancy term in the medical world is cost-benefit ratio. In other words, is it going to give you more benefit than it's going to cause you harm? So in a case like with my wife, I hate to say it, as much as I endorse medication, because medication for me has done wonders. I have taken, in fact, nothing to be proud of, but I'm on as many as 7 medications myself. But if it weren't for those medications, my high blood pressure may have developed into a stroke with cardio problems. Medication is wonderful.
Now, let me say this, and sorry. My concern about when you're saying you're taking 7 medications, I have had the opportunity to take my mother's medication as well as my father's medication back to the doctor because they're taking 7 or 8 bottles. I want to know, can you take all these at one time, or do we break them down? And my mother's physician was nice enough to read them and tell me, no, these 3 are in the AM, these 2 in the afternoon, and these 3 at night. Should a person go back to their pharmacist and ask, or go to the doctor, or does it matter?
Well, from a practical standpoint, ask the doctor when he's prescribing the medication, doc, when should I take this medicine? At 9 a.m.? There's really no reason when he's giving you directions, why not say it? Take in the morning, take at noon, or in the evening, so right on the label, you don't have to do any thinking.
But the white coat syndrome, my mother always told me this is white coat syndrome. The white coat syndrome means that you are nervous already when you see the physician, so chances are you're not feeling sick when you see them because all of a sudden you feel well.
Right.
Okay, if I'm getting prescriptions, and I'm just glad he's giving me the prescriptions, I didn't ask him if this is an AM, PM pill. I felt as though when I got the prescription, that when I go to the pharmacist, it's going to tell me, take as directed by your physician. What does that mean? So we don't have an idea still what time do we take the medication, because we only thought that when he wrote the prescription out, we go to the pharmacist puts on the label and tells us what to do, but he's following the rules of what the doctor had prescribed. You still don't have a complete answer to what time unless you ask the question.
Well, in the American Senior Gazette newspaper, I have a form that people can fill out questions they should ask the doctor before they see the doctor. So when you walk into that doctor's office, you have just that. And don't forget, I would not leave that office until, if he's busy, obviously you don't want to make yourself into
Well, when
a monster.
when it's your turn.
When it's your turn, doctor, I've got this little card here, so I can write it down.
Okay.
And if he doesn't have the time, now most of the receptionists that they have can fill in the blanks.
I feel like if my doctor don't have time, to
Yeah,
answer my
they all,
questions,
yeah, right.
he's not my doctor. Okay.
Yeah, right. So
Because
you
when
find another
right,
doctor?
when you're in your moment with the doctor and he comes in that room, he or she comes in that room, that's the time. And I have, for myself, have written down my questions because I know the night before, whatever, I'm already nervous and I'm going to the doctor for whatever reason. And then I say, okay, I'm going to ask him this, this, and this, and I don't. So then I have to remember to write stuff down. And
Right.
when I see my doctors, I say, I got some questions for you. And I automatically go in my purse and get the questions out. And they actually start smiling. They say, you wrote them down? I said, oh, yeah, because I knew I was going to get here and
Right.
forget. So I'm going to encourage our viewers to start writing your questions down, ladies and gentlemen. And even if you are a senior citizen and your children are taking you to the doctor, the children of the adult children of an elderly person, two things, and this is just me. If you want to, write down the questions for your parents, and so that you are in the room with your parents and getting the answer along with the parent, or you should automatically know what you're going to ask the physician. My brother taught me a lesson. I mean, the lesson was go into the room with the parent. Don't just send the parent in the room by themselves, even though the parent can handle seeing their physician. Some things get past us, and I say, Mom, what did he say? What type of medicine are you taking? Oh, I don't know. And so if I was in the room with her, I would have known.
America's greatness was not crafted in skyscrapers alone, but on the ground by those who could see what needed to be done. Volunteers who in service stepped forward onto the dust of the moon, a levee in the heartland, the marble steps of a dream. You may ask yourself, where's my moon, my levee, my dream? Well, it's here with you. Step forward. Help renew America at usaservice.org.
And welcome back to the last half of the show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but I cannot let these two gentlemen leave without doing a second half of the show. So we're going to continue to talk to Ike Engelbaum about the pharmacy information, and then we're going to do another show with Ed Ratzenberger in reference to safety. Because some of you have questions and I know that you would like for me to ask, and I may not ask them or I don't have them, but I can think of them off the top of my head. We're going to try to fill in most of the questions that I think as a viewing audience you would have for Ike Engelbaum separately from Ed Ratzenberger, because I know somebody's at home saying, well, I got some concerns about my medicine. So we're going to continue on with the first half of the show of Pharmaceutical Safety and You. Now, so Ike, a good question is, how long is a person's medicine supposed to last? You said something about if a person has medicine for, say, 7 days, and they say take the medicine for 7 days. What happens when a person stops midstream in the medicine? I'm feeling better. I don't think I want to finish it.
Yep, that's the
Worst
horrible,
thing.
horrible condition. Usually we're talking antibiotics for that
Right.
short term, and usually it's about 10 days or up to 2 weeks. The horrible part about it is when you take an antibiotic, you're beginning to feel better, and you stop, you figure, hey, maybe I'll save the rest of the tablets or capsules so the next time I have this, I already got a supply. Well, guess what happens? The bacteria in your system are smarter than you are, okay? So you gave them a bout, you just sort of knocked them down. They ain't knocked out yet.
Right.
And you're starting to feel better. At that point, they're already weakened. So if you don't take it for the rest of the period of time, the bacteria now is just weakened, and as soon as you stop, they say, hey,
That's
I'm
right.
back in action, and I'm going to really
Get
sock
you
it
this
to
time.
them.
That's right.
So the second time, you're still weakened because you haven't really been cured. So in other words, the very thing of the antibiotic taking care of you, by stopping early, makes it even worse than it ever was
Right.
before.
You know, I always tell people, I said, antibiotics to me is like, this is the bacteria, it's this big. You start taking the medication, it's going down, down, down. When you get to a point you say, I don't want to take anymore, okay, I'm feeling better,
Yeah.
it may be like at this level,
Yes.
which means it's still alive and it's still
yeah.
there. So
Oh,
if you
yeah.
discontinue taking the medicine early, you still got this much bacteria, and then it
yeah.
has the opportunity to grow back
Right.
to where
It's
it
sort of got
originally
his
was.
eyes half closed. Okay?
Right,
I'm
right.
waiting
So
for
you
it.
take all the medication and
Yeah, they boom, and it's gone.
like
now.
a magic glad you drank.
Right.
Okay.
Now, we're thinking positive, and I want to stay positive. A lot of times, unfortunately, because the doctor did not identify which bacteria he's treating, you take the full treatment, you don't really feel that much better. It's not that you have got some incurable disease. What has really happened is the doctor may not have had the proper antibiotic for you. Antibiotics are very sophisticated. The wonderful thing today is that we have antibiotics that are like a laser. If you're properly diagnosed, they can knock that bacteria out within days.
But can a pharmacist know that when a prescription is written and he or she asks the patient or talks to the patient about their condition? Because some patients like to tell you, well, you know, my doctor just gave me this prescription and told me I need to take this for my respiratory problem. And you know what the respiratory problem is. Does that mean that the pharmacist may know that this is not the medicine, the right medicine to go along with that respiratory problem, but you can't tell?
Well, there are some professional guidelines.
Right.
Okay. A good pharmacist, and I am proud to tell you that pharmacists out there today are the most knowledgeable you could ever imagine. I wish I knew a lot of what the pharmacy graduate today. No,
okay.
I know the old stuff and the common sense stuff. But the new medications, many times, are actually so sophisticated that unless you're dealing with it daily, and I'm not bad-mouthing doctors, but doctors were not trained for medications. They were trained to diagnose, and a good doctor is like a quarterback. He can tell you what plays to have, and he knows which antibiotics to take and what have you. The pharmacist, because of the computerization today, can actually identify where there's some other antibiotic that might be better for your particular condition, especially if he talks with the doctor. The best way to look at a pharmacist, he's part of a team. I like to think he's one of the key team players because in all due respect, what does a doctor do for you? He diagnoses after you've told him your symptoms what help there is. But it's the pharmacist that's actually giving you the medicine that's making the difference in you're getting better or not.
Well, what happens when it says disregard medicine after 1 year use?
I'm sorry?
When it tells you disregard medicine after 1 year's use.
After 1 year.
Right.
I would question that and talk it over with the pharmacist. You know, there's a lot of politics that go on.
I mean, does medicine lose its potency after a year's time, or depends on what it
some medicine, I don't want to be misquoted.
Okay.
But the reason that they many times do that is because the Federal Drug Administration forces it upon the pharmaceutical companies for them to put a time limitation. And in order for them to stay in business, so to speak, they put that restriction on. In most cases, believe it or not, most medications are good as up to 5 years.
Now you tell us.
Yeah, no, well, that's the truth. Okay. But talk with your pharmacist. I don't want to misguide, but they have to follow the law. Just to give you a feeler for this, as to how sort of a thin ice you walk on, we were talking before we got on the air about when they have all these side effects listed for medications that you may cause liver problems and may blah, 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 blah. And some people, including my wife, and when she sees all of that, I'm not taking it. The truth is, the pharmaceutical companies are forced to put that on to cover their liability. There are certain people, unfortunately, with certain medications that indeed are going to develop some of those side effects. But it's a rare group. But if the pharmaceutical company does not put that on, they can't get that drug on the shelves. So it's a catch-22 situation. It scares the heck out of a lot of people not taking medicine. And at the same time, they really have to do it out of sheer force.
As a safety net. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you what. I hate to stop us from going on to this. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're saying more and more and more, so we're going to come back for part 2. So what I want you to do is, Ike and Ed, stay put, and ladies and gentlemen, be prepared to watch part 2 of Pharmaceutical Safety and You.